haven't come in yet, as Kate mentioned, this is our Friday fuel session. They're weekly sessions every Friday, 15 minutes, I'll keep it really short. And they're just sort of inspirational sessions from around the agency, internal speakers, external speakers, just sort of anything that we think is inspiring or really fun or quirky that we've seen happening around us. So my Thrive project was graphic design, so I called this session Art After Hours. And I guess, as you can see, I've put on a selection of some of my graphic prints that I've made. But my inspiration actually came from when I was a young kid. So back in the day, we always used to get these colouring pattern books. So whenever we went on holiday, we'd always like colouring these patterns with my mum, dad, brother, sister. And always loved doing that as an activity. So that's kind of where my kind of obsession with like print and design and shapes and colour first started. So how I came to sort of create these designs really was from simple line and shape and sort of a combination of like geometry and putting things together from just simple squares, circles, triangles and lines. So I started with this circle and then made a square and cross section. And then from there I created a sort of a replicated pattern. And then from that I picked out certain elements of lines to highlight them or create a shape from them. So from that basic template I created two collections. So the first collection is the Clocks collection and the second one is the City Icons. So these are the Clocks collection, obviously you can see the city ones there. But actually how they came about, I drew them by hand first and then translated it to InDesign. And through my inexperience of InDesign, kind of stumbled across random happenings. So background colours and lines that show through and didn't show through, it kind of just happened, it wasn't really planned. And then when I came across something that I liked, I was like, oh, that's quite cool, I'll kind of roll with it. Didn't quite know how to get back to where I started because it just happened by accident. So this is the Clocks collection, and what I basically did was, as I said, through like random playing around with InDesign, certain elements when I looked at the shades and colours and layers filled in, and that's how I kind of created this collection. And then from there I kind of just looked at different variations. So once you've got a basic template, I then started to look at, okay, well if I take away the fill of it and just have the lines and take the background, then you get different variations. And then from there I just kind of created loads of different options, so different colour combinations with the background, still keeping the same line template on the front, but then just changing the colour of the background to get different variations. And then I decided, okay, well I've done sort of black as the main line colour, so now I'll change it to white. So I changed it to the white inversion and then also took away the fill and just had the line. So as you can see there's one right at the end which I've got framed, which is just the line version in white. And then this is the City Icon collection. So what I wanted to do was create an icon for each like individual city. So I started with obviously the obvious ones like London, Paris, New York, Sydney, Amsterdam, Seattle. And decided how can I create an icon that's relevant to that city. So it was based on a building or landmark. So for example, London would be the Millennium Wheel, Paris, Eiffel Tower, or some people may say it's the Louvre Gallery Museum. New York, obviously Empire State Building. Sydney either could be Opera House or it could be Harbour Bridge. Amsterdam, I originally based it around the windmill sign, but actually it could easily be the red light district. And then Seattle is the Space Needle. So I just sort of played around with them and just wanted to create a really simple line collection that was relevant to each city. And then again, played around with colour, the background, to give different variations. So then from there, I had all of these like random designs, loads of variations. I thought, well, it's all very well having them on your computer screen, but what about turning that into sort of a small, thriving business? Here's hoping. But there was so much choice with having to print on different kinds of paper, the finish of it, the quality, the weight of it, as well as then deciding the mount colour, how wide the mount would be, different framings, different finishes, nothing that I'd ever really knew before. So I had to learn quite a lot just by speaking to different sort of independent framers and sort of paper specialists. So depending on the weight of the paper, obviously it depends on how the finish comes out when you print it. So as you can see, I then went from printing onto a special card and then getting them mounted. And these are just some examples. And then I went on to get them framed, so you can see obviously some framed examples there. These are actually, they were on display at a friend's estate agents in Walthamstow, so it's all to do with who you know. I just randomly knew this friend who opened an estate agent, and he said he likes to showcase local art and exhibit artwork. So I said, oh, wouldn't it be great if I could just display my work for free, just have them all up there, get a bit of presents. So he happily put them up in his shop, and they've done loads of sort of social media for me, tweeting about it. Whenever people come in, they look at them on display, and there's like a little placard which says what it's all about, and my link to my website. And then from there, I've decided, okay, well, it's all very well having them on display, but if I want to make this into a business, I need to put them somewhere where people can buy them or see the whole collection. So after doing a bit of research, I stumbled across Etsy.com. And Etsy is like a marketplace for like artists and people who create vintage or unique goods. So I thought, okay, well, that's a good place to start and put my collection on there. In the meantime, I was also looking at creating my own website, but that can take a longer time. So I thought, well, let's get it straight on the marketplace and start from there. So this is my shop. It's Laura Alice Prints, and it's on Etsy, and I'll send around the link later so you can see the full collection. But basically the way that it works, it's a little bit like eBay. When you list things, they take a little bit of a profit from when you sell them as well. So it's mainly like a listing shop front. And you can go through all the collections. When you click on them, it tells you the options for having them framed, mounted, finishes and sizes. Also, if you wanted something bespoke, you could just email me and I could do a bespoke version for you. So self-promotion, so you can have it on Etsy, but actually, as we all know, we work in media and advertising. You need to promote around that. So I looked at all the different touch points that I could sort of promote my prints on, mainly Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn and Twitter. So they've been really good for just kind of pushing it all out there and updating people who are interested, and just, again, creating a social shop front for my prints. And then also just spotting opportunities. So randomly when we pick up stylists or shortlists or Time Out, they always feature art, gallery, cultural things that are happening in and around London. I saw an article that the stylist wrote, and it was the really affordable art fair that was happening in Battersea Power Station. So I thought, okay, great opportunity. I know I'm not exhibiting there this year, but I'll tweet them and kind of ride off the back of that wave of people wanting to know about affordable art and buying them and where to buy them. So I just sent a little tweet out. I didn't get any response, but that's not the point. The point is, it's just finding opportunities to kind of build up that recognition and awareness. And also for me, I can then pinpoint exhibitions, galleries that I want to promote in, say, the following year. I got my first sale. Woo! Which is that one, as you can see. So that's really cool. And no, it wasn't my mum or my dad, it was someone else. But also, I had to keep track of my stock, so I've printed loads of these things now, so my small flat is covered in them. But I obviously missed my comms planning days colouring block charts, so that's how I keep track of my orders. And I'm also doing my first pop-up shop at Shoreditch House. So it's going to be, I guess, like an all-day thing on a Sunday in December. So I'll probably have a better display than what's here, and do a pop-up shop. So I'll have to buy one of those card readers. So I thought, who carries cash these days? Everyone pays by card or contactless. So I have to invest in one of these pay machines. And then also a thing for sort of future is like galleries and exhibitions. So I was actually going to display and exhibit in the Brick Lane Gallery, but I'll probably end up doing that next year when I've got a bit more money, maybe when I've sold like 1,000. And then future going forward, so what I really want to do is actually create a piece of software or an app that allows people to create their own prints. So using my template, they can then choose the colour background, the line, and create their own print from my template. So they have a bespoke edition. And then similarly with the city prints, you can choose whatever city you want. So say you've worked in 5 of the cities and you want a print that represents those cities, you can then choose them. and then colour coordinate as to what you want from that and create a bespoke edition. So that's an example, so you can pick and choose, put them in different orders, choose the background. And actually, I've created my first personal request, so there's a guy working in our MEC New York office, and when I showed him the prints, he said, oh, I've worked in all of these cities other than Seattle, so he said, if you change the Seattle to Wellington, I'll buy one off you. So I was like, sweet. So I created an icon for Wellington, and then posted it off to him. He was thrilled with it and got it framed and put it up in the office. So there's loads of like options for bespoke prints and creating something really personal. And there's an MEC discount, so it wouldn't be right if I didn't plug my own work. So yeah, I'll send around the link later to my Etsy shop. It's a 10% discount for MEC members. You just put the code MEC10 in the checkout box and then you get your 10% off. Or you can just email me with anything specific, anything you'd like, or just order it through me directly, and there you go, that would be your sale. And then just a sneak peek of my next collection. So I've thought about one for next year, which is going to be based on interactive body posture and design. So from sort of ballet movements and positions, kind of making a minimalist expression of that. So this is a sneak peek. And that's actually inspiration from, I think it was GCSE or our A-level that I did. And I thought, actually, that could be quite good in prints themselves. So that's my next collection, so watch out. But thanks for coming, that's it. If anyone's got any questions, just shout them out. If not, okay.
How did you decide how to price them?
So I decided how to price them based on how much it cost me to make them. So obviously the time spent to design them, that's just my own time. But to actually get them printed, mounted and framed, it varies. So to get them printed, I can print each one for about £2 to £3. And then mounting wise, £6. So 6 and 3, roughly 10, 9, 10. So for a mounted one, you have to make a profit obviously, so if I can produce them for £10, I'll sell them for £40. And then for the framed ones, the frame itself actually costs £32, so then if you add that to how much it costs to produce the mount and the print, the production cost on the frame is roughly around 35, so I'd sell them for like £65, £75. And I've based it also looking around the market on Etsy, what are people selling them for, similar, and that tends to be in line because it's cheaper to buy them just mounted, but then you've got to go and get it framed yourself, which can take a while. But having them framed, yeah, £65, £75.
Where did you learn to do graphic design?
I didn't. I just kind of, I've always loved art, left art A-level, but I never did graphic design or anything. Just picked up InDesign, like the Adobe software, and just started playing with it. But I drew these all by hand first, and then learned how to create them through computer software.
We work in media, we always talk about partnerships. Is that something you think about, like, you know, like all interior design, like, you know,
yeah,
bedding, bed linen?
Yeah, so I've considered like taking them around to, like, you know, retail stores, but then that kind of takes a massive chunk from your margins, your profits. So and also it depends on like demand. So if there's a demand there, then I'll need to think about production and how to keep up with supply and demand. So there's definitely opportunity to look into that. And I was thinking sort of like modern contemporary stores. Well's a good one. John Lewis has some good sort of prints, like Habitat, but also individual venues as well.
Thanks everyone for coming this week. It's going to be every Friday. Next week's speaker is Scott and Ben. They're going to do a roundup of the Global Ideas Festival they went to a couple of weeks ago, some cool stuff that came out of that, and we'll have more pizza. And there's more pizza coming today as well.